Hello, my friends. It has been too long. I apologize. Let's dive right into it. So, Bitcoin's been making a bit of a recovery back to prior highs. Let's talk about what that means for your family. So, initially, our main concern was the longest overexpanded period of 240 boiling off. Can you guess where that happened? Here. All right. Just draw a horizontal vertical line. Alt H. That should work. Vertical line. Let's take a look at that again. What is that hotkey? Alt V. Beautiful. And right around that time is where Bitcoin began to recover, right? Because when you don't have volatility overhead, price is no longer bound by the longest overexpanded period. And guess what? Now we're outside of where that would have been. So this has been very healthy for the price action of Bitcoin, right? Because we started our mean version, we mean reverted, we compressed, and now gas is back in the tank. So price can once again move. There is no volatility overhead on Bitcoin, which means price can trend if Bitcoin so desires. Now, there is the question of this odd expansion here, right? This longest overexpanded period is generating based off of a cloud reading, which means we need to look at a lower time frame. Please load quicker. Huzzah! Beautiful. See? Now this is nice and clean. This will have to manually define. This initially, there are several smaller expansions here, which is generating some clouding, right? We had this bears expansion with an immediate mean reversion. When that happens, if you begin another trend, right, our defined level of volatility is going to get hampered, right? Since we have this here, this plume expands and runs into the overhead. So what happens? Price rapidly expands, and guess what? After it expands, it gets capped. Now, would it be possible to define this? Is I'm working this out in real time, but I think we may have a way here to define limiting trend, and we'll need to do some testing on this. 120 period. Let's load up a Bollinger Band of the 120 pyramid, because this could be very interesting. 120. Okay. Cool. Now we are going to change this to 2.25. What if we did the third? So if we did the third standard deviation. Oh my goodness. I think I just discovered something. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my God. So this is insane. This is new tech. Wow. When you have prior volatility overhead that is still here, right? And you have a new trend pushing up, it should stop at the third standard deviation of the prior longest overexpanded period. That's insane. Wow. Because this is an excellent sell indicator, right? If you have a prior longest over extended period and it tags the 3.2 standard deviation of that prior period, trend will stop. Well, I want to go find other examples of this happening. This is big. It lines up perfectly in the first example. I'm very interested in seeing how this would play. Beautiful. So currently we have a lox of, what's this? 50. We're going to go to the 1 hour chart to get it cleaner. All right, so it should be 200 down here. You ready for this to be 200? 300. Okay. Right. So finding different look back. Excellent. Because this is not the cleanest expansion. Whereas on the 1 hour, you have less candles. Cool. That should mean the 2 hour generates the cleanest longest overextended period. All right, because you always want to adjust your time frame so that the longest overextended period shown by the 3D wave PM is one solid connected plume. Beautiful. So this is 155. Double that is 300. Okay. So there's better confluence between the two. That is satisfactory. Beautiful. So with this current trend, we can expect the current upward move to continue so long as we stay above the 1.25 standard deviation of that 162-hour period. Beautiful. So we're going to know very quickly if Bitcoin has an all-time high or if we go back into a compressionary phase. So very binary, which is excellent news for trading. Yeah, if you're long, you stay long so long as they're above this longest overextended period. But this is a tapering trend. We could see repeated cycles of expansion, compression, expansion, compression. Interesting. So short term, Bitcoin is an upward trend. On our higher time frames, are we defining? No, we are not defining that as a single cloud. In fact, on the daily chart, we're not defining it at all. Okay. Let's take a look at your questions. Live stream questions. Ethereum. Whew. That's good news for me. This has been a very sustained downward trend, hasn't it? Yeah. So this has likely been maintaining parity. Plug in my laptop. Yeah, this has been such a sustained downward trend. We don't have a longest over expanded period to define the downward move. So all that we have is this, which is actually quite convenient. right? Because we don't have converse expansion and there's no volatility overhead down here. So this is a very clean upward move. Basically, as long as we're above the 160, 1.25, this is trending upward. And yes, you can look back at the daily chart and say this has done nothing but go down for almost a year, longer. But if you're playing this for a short time, this is a very clean play, right? Why? Because, again, binary pivot. You stay long so long as you're above that pivot. Clean, simple, and easy. You asked this on the 26th. Ooh. Yeah, if you're waiting for that full compression, you got it. Trend is off. Next up, let's take a look at Link. That is messy. I don't see how you play this. Link is very cyclical in its volatility. Um, if you just feel like playing pattern recognition, sure, you can try to ride the waves, but I don't have technicals for you that align with the cycle. Right? So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Maybe, this could double in price, but not a good strategy. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Please, Zealot, I want you to go and try out this tech we just figured out because it could be an excellent way to define cell conditions. We're going to test that because it's very interesting. Cool. Talk to y'all later.